The other day, Path of Exile 2 released their video for The Witch on their new class coming out for PoE 2. And honestly, I cannot stop the excitement I have for this game. It is truly going to show what an actual evolution of an ARPG is, rather than just a sidestep or a lateral move from what PoE 1 could be. I've had my doubts, I've had my skepticism about PoE 2 because I think a lot of the higher end players who are big into PoE 1 right now of zooming through maps may not really enjoy a lot of the other types of combat, rolling, dodging, etc. But it feels more visceral, it feels more direct, and it feels more crunchy, I think is the best way to put it. It may not be all about how fast you can get through a map, but it's definitely more about what can you do to combine all of your abilities together to make them work and flow together, rather than just stacking the best supports on one skill and just pressing the right mouse button or the Q key the entire time. Granted, I love playing that way as well, don't get me wrong. The thing is though, sometimes you might want a change of pace, and I feel like PoE 2 is going to bring just that. One of the crazier things that I realized while watching this actual walkthrough for The Witch was we no longer have to actually summon our minions manually. Many of them are summoned automatically. And the crazy thing about this game and what they're doing with just the Witch class alone, which is getting me very excited about this game in general, is that you can then pick the composition of your actual minion army. And on top of that, if a minion dies, you don't have to resummon them manually. They get resummoned on their own as long as they haven't been just, killed recently. But all of this really is tied to spirit, which is the cost of what you need for each type of minion, or the amount of minions as well. So having that tether with minions and spirit as the actual cost of the resource, things start to change. You don't use your regular mana then to have your minions there. Your spirit cost will do that. You can choose the composition of your actual team and army specifically for your minions and have them go that route directly. On top of that, you have the ability to have contagion. So if you want to spread almost like that poison necro minion build, if you want to do that too, across all the enemies. And if you summon a minion that was from a corpse that was hit by contagion, then they'll also have contagion and they'll spread that to other enemies as well. Basically giving you a contagion army that is constantly just evolving and being revived through that contagion corpse, which really goes to show that's incredibly cool. And can you apply that to bosses? Can you create corpses that have contagion in them if anything happens? If your minions die during a boss fight, can they be resurrected with contagion on top of that? There are so many thoughts and ways you can already plan how you want to make your build with just these few minutes of interaction. That really goes to show that GGG has thought about all of these things specifically, and they've pulled together so much thought into how they want skills to play and how you want to play the game in the first place. I'm already thinking of possible uniques that they can come out with. Just seeing this alone right now truly is something that is incredibly exciting. I mean, look at this boss fight right here. What did the boss even do? I don't know. We just melted them, and this is level 2. We're not like in level 30 or 40. This is level 2 in the beginning of the game. Your character is this strong. So that tells me there's going to be a higher ceiling in terms of power in this game already when we reach max level, or I guess even close to it, like in the higher 90s. But everything that starts to unlock really just becomes very crazy, because having the fact that we can't just stack all the best supports on every skill is really wild too. So there has to be some sort of min-maxing and changing and personal playstyle of how you want to actually play your class. All this stuff really just looks so good together, and the way it's designed, I feel like it just does so much more for players to start theory crafting and min-maxing and playing the game how they want to play while still having a good time while doing it and not feeling so overwhelmed or having to follow a guide. I really feel like what they've done with PoE 2, well, hopefully is what they're going to do with PoE 2, is remove a lot of the friction that players normally get whenever they're playing this game for the first time. Whether it's how the skill tree is designed, whether it's how support gems work, whether or not it's how class designs work, whether or not it's anything along that nature. In fact, they even talked about taking IIQ and IIR and having it just become IIR. So if you have increased item quantity and increased item rarity, there's no longer going to be increased item quantity. It's just going to be increased item rarity. And that applies not only to the items themselves, but also to currency as well. So there's so much more information that is going along this route. In fact, those statements by Jonathan Rogers were from an interview that was done with Captain Lance. And that was really interesting to me because removing the item bloat on the actual field and having to, I wouldn't say remove a need for an item filter, but remove a lot of the I don't need to see this anymore. And honestly, doing that would really bring a new way of playing an ARPG. Instead of having to hide 90% of the items that are there, you can actually have an actual reason to either upgrade a rare or craft on a rare because your IIR is so much higher than everything else. It makes that item valuable and worth it. So when your item drops or currency drops, you're like, yes, let's go. That I think is very cool. Now, later on in the trailer, they talk about going to level 30 and having more types of actual minions to choose from. And they go through a list, and it's just this massive list of minions to choose from with the different supports that you can socket with them and apply them specifically. That is such a cool concept because now instead of having to just carry around specific gems or have different kind of supports, if you want to switch them out, you can just apply them to your skills and abilities and even minions directly and not have to have it in your bag. So now you're freeing up bag space. Now you're creating new kinds of metas for classes or for minions. This whole thing, yeah, I know I'm glazing all over this thing. I get it, right? But the concept of like reserving an amount of spirit for your minions, having your mana pool be free to channel skills and abilities, having the ability to go through and have your minions auto recover and auto revive, having a minion that actually heals your minions while you play and while they fight, and then channeling other skills and abilities in the meantime, either applying debuffs to where it's easier to have the minions do more damage. And then you also get the ability to actually control your minions where they go, even open doors or chests for you. Like that last Epoch did that, but PoE and GGG doing it to another level really goes to show that they have thought about things that really remove friction from the player. And it's so great to see because the friction is being removed, but at the same time, the depth and complexity is still available for you to enjoy. And I think that's incredibly important because what that does is that makes everybody happy. That makes people who want that depth and complexity like myself have a great time and really just say, hey, this is awesome. I want to do more of this. And also people that are playing in this ARPG for the first time or trying to get into the series for the first time, not be overwhelmed and think, oh, I need a PhD to play this game. When in reality, you really don't. You just have to read and pay attention. And that's really hard for a lot of players, I know. But I'm just so excited that they're doing something like this. I mean, even in this boss fight right now, you can see your minions all basically just get eradicated. And then all at once, boom, they all come back and there they are. And you can set them up in whatever way you want, whatever setups you want, as long as you are working through your spirit, which it's just so fun. And it looks so good. Even though it seems a little bit slower than what PoE 1 does, this just feels like the right way in the right direction for this game. I know I made a previous video about my concerns with console gamers playing this game and the fact that the complexity may be removed because that gamer is not normally used to Path of Exile or deep complex ARPG mechanics. I'm actually incredibly happy to see something like this to where a new player can just get their grip on the game in the beginning and then dive into that complexity later on as they move forward, as more things are unlocked for them, as more things are applied to them and given to them. And that is such a cool thing to do because having that ability in level 2, but then having that escalate so incredibly far in level 30 just goes to show that I think GGG really knows what they're doing. And I'm honestly very excited for this game. So yeah, that is my take on the Witch class and PoE 2 as it stands right now. Hopefully we all get beta access later this year. And that would be honestly a fantastic way to play this game because I heard that the end game was also going to be part of the beta. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Are you going to play the Witch? Are you going to play a different class? Are you excited about what PoE 2 is bringing to the table? Or is this not really your cup of tea? You prefer PoE 1? Love to find out and see more. Now, if you want to subscribe to the channel, please do so. We are getting close to 1,000 subs and it really does mean a lot. And I'll do my best to provide more content for this channel moving forward. This is more of like a side project for me, so it's a little bit tough trying to balance the time and I really do appreciate it. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one and I'll see you next time.